the winner and still the Beltway champion, is your Baltimore Ravens.
It's here. You're here. I'm a Raven. It's on. All year. Every year.
Ravens flock, what's going on? I know we're all having a good afternoon. We're coming off of a really solid win against the Washington Commanders. We came out victorious in the Battle of the Beltway. I believe that now this takes our record from 4-3, because I think we were 4-3 against the Commanders all time. I think this would take us to 5-3. So this was definitely a solid win to get. We beat them 30-23. And overall, it was just a really solid game all around. There wasn't too many things that I was unsatisfied with when I was watching the game. But there was plenty of stuff that I was definitely excited to see. Lamar Jackson was completely locked in throughout this game. He played a very efficient game. He went 20 for 26 with 323 yards and a touchdown. He also threw an interception, but the interception really wasn't on him. It was on Mark Andrews. Like that ball hit Mark right in the hands, and he just let it go right through his hands and end up in the defender's hands. And it is what it is. That was a drive killer, but still, overall, Lamar played as well as you could have asked for him to. This is his second game in a row with 300 plus passing yards. He also ran for 40 yards. This is adding to his MVP campaign. But what's so interesting is the more Derrick Henry continues to deliver, that probably would cause Lamar to lose votes when it comes to MVP voting, just because as like Derrick Henry's on pace for like 1,800 yards right now. So if he does that, I think there's still a chance Lamar would win MVP, but I also think that there's a chance that there would be votes for both Lamar and Derrick Henry. And with votes coming in for both of them, that would kind of dilute how many votes each of the other person would get, which I think would cause a completely different person that we're not thinking about to win MVP. But it's yet to be seen. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm just saying that that could be a possibility, because just like how Lamar is completely locked in, so is Derrick Henry. He had another great game. He put up like 130 rushing yards. He averaged like 5 yards a carry. He had 2 touchdowns. Mark Andrews, he got going, even though he caused that interception. He ended up he ended up redeeming himself later throughout the game. This was his best game of the season so far. He had 66 yards and a touchdown. This was his first touchdown of the season. Zay Flowers went crazy in this game, especially in the first half. He had 9 catches for 132 yards. And not only that, but the 9 catches that he had in the first half, that was a franchise record for most receptions by a receiver in the first half in the history of the Ravens. I was very excited to see that. Rashad Bateman also got going. He ended up finishing with about 4 or 5 catches and 70 yards. It's nice to see Lamar and Bateman finally start to develop some synergy. Like you're seeing them week by week. They're starting to really get a flow going with each other, especially on these sort of off script kind of plays where it looks like it might break down, and Lamar's doing some sort of magic to just extend the play an extra second or two where he's looking in Bateman's way. So that's exciting to see. Isaiah likely didn't do much in this game, but he did get about 1 or 2 catches for big chunk plays. Then also we saw Justice Hill also didn't do a whole lot in this game, but he still did everything that he was asked to do essentially for the most part. I didn't know this until the graphic came up that right now Justice Hill has the third most reception yards out of any running back in the league. So that's exciting to see. I'm very happy that Todd Monken saw the potential in Justice Hill, and he's like completely been maximizing it. I just wish that Justice would get a few more carries a game, because even in this game, I think he only got one. Like I've been saying the past couple weeks, I would prefer if we give Justice maybe like 7 or 8 carries. You know what I mean? 7 or 8 carries a game. I would like to see that. Give him some more opportunities to add to his stats and get into the end zone and contribute a bit more. But it was a lot to be excited about. The only issues offensively that I saw, or that I felt were issues, were Tyler Linderbaum early in the game. He had this weird botch snap where he really just fumbled it and it never left the ground. I don't know, like he reacted as if it was like a normal snap, but it's like it never it never left the ground. It just kind of like slipped out of his fingers and rolled over like right next to his foot. And then also, I mentioned earlier the interception that went through Mark Andrews' hands and ended up going back for I think the Commander scored on that drive. I can't remember, but either way, those are two drive killing moments. But those are the only real down moments in the game offensively. Other than that, I think we handled everything we needed to handle. I think we handled business. Justin Tucker made several field goals in this game, so it's exciting to see him get back into a groove. I saw some people like it seems like some people were frustrated with John Harbaugh's decision to really push the ball downfield towards the end of the half and not run it a whole lot and go for the touchdown. I'm not mad at Harbaugh for that, and y'all know critique Harbaugh for a lot of stuff because I'm not a Harbaugh fan like that. But I still like the decision at the end of the day because I've been saying that we play it too safe in a lot of these situations. Like we will try to run the ball and play it conservative with and doesn't work out. And this is a big reason why we blow so many leads is because we'll make those type of decisions that shows that we're prioritizing trying to milk the clock instead of prioritizing scoring and putting points on the board. At the end of the half, I was excited to see that we were prioritizing pushing the ball downfield, applying pressure, and scoring points. I was excited to see that. I didn't want to see us run in that situation. And we still ended up, running for a bunch of yards anyway, but I was excited to see in that situation we had a more aggressive mindset. And I hope that carries out throughout the rest of the year. So other than that, on the defensive side of the ball, we played a decent game defensively. I still wasn't really impressed, honestly. Like I was impressed though, and this is more of a special teams thing, but I was excited to see that we had about two instances of block field goals. I think one of the block field goals still went in, but we also got a block field goal that was blocked by Ben Cleveland of all people. I was very excited to see that. I know many people like myself would prefer that Ben Cleveland get his shot to show what he's made of, but for whatever reason, John Harbaugh has a vendetta against him. So to see him get any opportunity to get out there and make some sort of play, make something happen, I was very happy for him, and I was happy to see that. We got to the quarterback a little bit, not as much as I would have liked, but at the end of the day, we still got home a few times. Michael Pierce and Matabike got a half sack. Then also we seen Kyle Van Noy get a key tackle behind the line of scrimmage when they were in the red zone. I believe Yannick Ngakoue also got a sack. And then you know who else finally got a sack? Travis Jones.
Who?
Travis Jones.
Who?
Travis Jones.
Who?
Travis Jones. I was very excited to see Travis Jones get a sack. We all know as Ravens fans that he's contributed more than his stats would lead us to believe, or he's contributed more than his stats would make the average outsider believe. Because most people, if they're not a fan of the team, they're not going to look at game film like that. They're not going to watch all 22 of some random guy. So to see him actually get an opportunity to put a sack on the board, I was very excited about that. He's continuing to play well. He's continuing to help disrupt the running attacks for all teams. Speaking of which, we actually held up against the run in this game. I was also excited to see that. Now, to be fair, Brian Robinson Jr. didn't play, and I do think that kind of affects how we look at our run defense in this game. Like I mentioned in the last video, I'm still not 100% confident in our run defense, not because we're not performing in that aspect, but just because we haven't really been tested. Like I was saying, the first couple teams we played for the most part, most of them didn't run the ball. This was really our biggest test running the ball, even without Brian Robinson Jr. So to see us hold them to about 50 yards rushing, I was still extremely excited to see that. Our Darius Washington, he disappointed me. He dropped what should have been an easy pick. I was almost jumping out of my seat when I saw that ball almost land in his hands, but unfortunately he couldn't bring it in. We held Jayden Daniels in check as much as we could. Salute to Jayden Daniels. I mean, I mean, he's already like a superstar at this point. Like he had a really solid game against us. He threw for like 269 and 2 touchdowns and no picks. He should have had one pick, but again, like I just said, our Darius, he ended up dropping that pick. Brandon Stevens gave up a touchdown in that game, and like always, I believe Brandon Stevens is a really good cornerback. I know a lot of Ravens fans, they like to make jokes about him, but at the end of the day, and I watch other teams play. I'm not just somebody who only watches the Ravens. I watch almost all teams play. I watch all 22 on a bunch of different teams. So, in my opinion, Brandon Stevens is one of the stickiest cornerbacks in all of football. But again, his Achilles heel, of course, is just like not being able to consistently make plays on the ball. And he's just always so close. And we all know that. We see it. He's just so close, but then he just ends up missing. He did make a play on the ball early in the game, but and towards the end of that game, Terry McLaurin started just beating him on a consistent basis, including on that touchdown. Nate Wiggins had a somewhat rough game. Like he had a bad angle on a missed tackle that I noticed. Can't remember if it was the second or third quarter, but I wasn't excited to see that. And then also he ended up getting a pass interference call. But I mean, beyond that, I think we played as solid a game as you could have hoped for all around. Still wasn't perfect, but there's still not much to be angry about. But let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Were you satisfied with this win? And is there anything that you think we could have done better?